X-Men Fantastic Four, closing out the 4-part series. They went 4 parts because they realized they don't need to go 6 and stretch a story because they respect our time, and they crammed in a whole lot into this comic book. I felt like there was more pages towards the end. In the beginning, the X-Men get busy against these Latviathans because Doctor Doom is petty as fuck. Doctor Doom is a child, an infant. He's talking about showing up, Reed, I know better, this and that. I'll give him points for finding something out about Kate Pride. This is how your powers work. You know, you can go lighter than air. That's why she was flying in issue number 1 of this series. That's why you saw her flying and kind of floating. She just made herself light, but he's like, you can get really dense. You can get heavy. And he made her heavy so that she would collapse the floor. Now, as soon as something new is being introduced, I hope that's the page, I always question, how does this still make sense? You made something that Kate couldn't do in the past, now she's done it. Well, it's because she's never tried to do it. Well, it's because she never understood her powers. She just found out she can float. Float. Well, float too, but I mean transparent size. Phase, that's the word I'm looking for. She found out she could phase. She was content with phasing. She just thought like a phaser. Little did she know she could do the opposite too. It just never happened. So, what is it, a 40-year history of Kate Pride? I guess we just gotta accept it. So that's Kate Pride for you. She can get heavy now. If anything came from X-Men FF, it's that. More comes towards the end. There's a part here where Emma Frost is trying to psychically communicate to Sue, but Sue is busy with Reed, being a wife and a husband, having that talk. I don't like the way Cyclops, he took over the phone and he's like, hey, listen, Emma, I don't have any time to talk. Well, why would you talk? If you don't have time to talk, why are you saying I don't have time? Just get to it. She straight up just says, just do it. He's like, oh, we gotta use your powers so Nightcrawler can take away the Sentinel's arm. So we need you. And she's like, just do it. Cyclops, you gotta understand. These guys are mad at you. There's no need for small talk. There's no need for, listen, I don't know how you're feeling. I gotta work. Just straight up say the orders. I could relate to Sue at that moment. Sometimes you're just mad at someone, but you know something is necessary to be done. You need that task to be finished, accomplished, and he's too busy with his kid gloves on. Just tell me what to do. And then Nightcrawler says, "You see, isn't everything better when we come along?" What did he say? He said, "When we come together." Old Nightcrawler, I wouldn't think twice about it. New Nightcrawler, make more mutants Nightcrawler, I thought twice about it. Kate powers up because, no, I gotta save Franklin. And she powers up. That's what that was. Nothing fancy, but okay. Good job, Kate. Kate, who what's his name calls Kate? Franklin calls her Kate. There's even a point in here where Professor X calls her Kate and he yells out Kate. I think, as much as I love the Kate name and that's progression and everything in her story, at that moment, Professor X should have said Kitty. He should have let go of his relied on his memories and instantly reacted Kitty, because when he sees her, he should see Kitty. But he goes Kate. It's like a politically correct statement. If that makes sense. That's like his filter was still on. I think if his filter was off and he was like, oh my god, she's getting heavy. Kitty, is what he would have said, not Kate. I'm right. But I like to overanalyze things like that. This page right here. Let's overanalyze this page. We got Magneto, we got Cyclops, and we got Professor X. All three of them in one page. And I had to look at where the words were coming from the word balloons. Because these three leaders are literally the same when it comes to them being leaders. The words were, you've got a lot of nerve, Doom. Foe Sentinels, the death of a mutant, you will pay dearly. He will. How do you know who said which? I mean, if you remember, because you probably read this book, you remember who said which, but those three lines could have come from any three of those. It's interchangeable, because when you're a leader of the X-Men, you're a leader of the X-Men, period. I want to give points to Terry Dodson for drawing this image. It's the Fantastic Four catching Franklin, and I thought it was appropriate that everyone around Franklin was an FF member. He could have easily had, You know, sprinkling a couple of mutants here, a couple of X-Men there. I mean, FF there, but it was just purely the FF showing up, trying to help with Franklin. Multiverse, blah blah blah. He talks about, man, Dad, you got to give me some responsibilities. Dad says, I'm sorry, you're growing. That kind of stuff that we knew was going to happen. Whatever. Now the boys' damage may be, what was the word? Irreparably damaged. So they nerfed Franklin. Fine. But they also added something here at the end where Franklin is stronger on Krakoa. That's an interesting touch. We'll see where that goes. I don't know who's writing FF after this, but X-Men after this. I don't know if Chip Zdarsky is going to be using the X-Men and the FF and Franklin and everything, but we'll see where that goes. They do like a flash. It's 3 weeks later where he's on Krakoa now, and after his day at school, he goes back home to the Baxter building, and it looks like everything's fine, except that not everything's fine. Before we get to what Professor X does, like an absolute G. Little girl genius here. Valeria is talking to Dr. Doom, Uncle Doom. That's a weird relationship, but whatever. She's like, yo, I noticed something that you didn't notice, and Doom has collected the powers of Franklin. This is going somewhere. I love when things keep building. We did not enter this story and leave the story with the X-Men and the FF in the same place. Franklin Richards has evolved. His story has progressed more than it has in the 25 issues that Dan Slott's been writing the Fantastic Four. We continue with the X-Men where they try to make me taste the food on the counter, but then Professor X and Magneto pull up to Franklin, to Reed Richards. Yo, listen, about that thing that you made, what did he call it? He called it the mutant gene device. Everyone right now who's complaining, oh, they took it too far. These are the actions of men who have gone too far. The mutants, I don't like how they are now. No. Before they even did the deed where they erased Reed Richards' memory of how to create that, which was really cool. Look, you can see it here. These are his notes. These are what his notes turned into. And then finally, the last page, his notes are all gone. He has no idea how to recreate that. Before you say, oh, but they went too far. Reed was apologizing. As they were bringing it up, he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I know that's really important to you guys. I know that's the mutant gene. I gotta understand. I was just a father. Like, Reed himself is actually explaining to you viewers, readers, that what he did was crossing the line. So don't give me any, oh, the mutants have gone too far. I miss the good old days. No. Oh, by the way, the Doom's reasoning for evolution and how this is the difference between me and you, Valeria. We are the next step. We are actual evolution. The mutants are like nature's stimulus package to try to get us to level up. Man, that was genius. That's Chip Zdarsky thinking. It's great because Doom is like a future forward thinking kind of guy. You would think that he'd be down with the mutants, which it looked like he was a few books ago. But seeing him explain it this way, seeing it as, no, we're still the future. Humans are still the thing. It's just that nature introduced the Homo superiors to challenge us so that we can become better. That is so smart, man. How do you think of that stuff? And how do I properly praise that without sounding like a fanboy? It's amazing that he thought of something so brilliant like that. So shout out to Chip Zdarsky for being a genius and a Canadian. That's the review. I loved this series, beginning to end. I'm eager to see what Chip Zdarsky does next. Really with anything. I might even read his Daredevil now. I think he's got an annual coming up. I should probably check that out just off GP. Like this made me a fan of him as a writer. So who knows what I'll read from this guy next. Even though I don't care about Daredevil, that's why I don't read Daredevil. But still, when he gets the FF eventually, it's going to be a must read. So, and I hope he does a little X-Men stuff. Who knows who gets X-Men after Hickman? Hickman's only a year in, almost a year in. He probably has another 2. I don't know, unless you guys know better. That's what the comment section is for. Interact. If you loved this just as much as I loved it, let me know. If you hated it, let me know also. But I think everybody right now, since you made it to the end of the video, you care and you're actually a fan of this channel. I want you to comment what you give this out of 10. Okay? You can't do a poll anymore. YouTube took away the way to, where you can put polls on the corner of your screen. Can't do that anymore. So just rate the comic book out of 10. Thank you for making it this far. I bid you adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang.